Greetings and Hotep. 10:49. Well, just turned 10:50. Right as I was looking at the clock. AM, December 5th, Tuesday. And I'm holding back tears because I just had a thought drop into my heart. These people probably killed Cress Welsing and tried to kill, well, I'm not going to say his name, but someone that I admire. He writes books, and he was advising me, and he's made a wonderful, powerful impact in my life, and I've been able to pass down the information. And I had no idea these people around me were in these. The lady I'm listening to, I'm afraid to say her name. I don't want people being attacked because they're sharing information with me. So I'm not going to say any names other than the name of the person that I believe they killed, because she had a counseling session with me, and that's Dr. Frances Cress Welsing. I desired to get her opinion. I knew I wasn't crazy. I knew that they gave me a bogus diagnosis so that they could take advantage of me. They wanted to fuck my mind up for real. And they thought if we take her children, she will submit. If we get her mother to beg her, she will submit. And I submitted to a lot of things. I never submitted to sitting down with a counselor unless I could record. And none of them wanted me to record. Dr. Lisa Gates wouldn't allow me to record. I didn't even make it past her little reception area. I immediately started handwriting notes because I figured she had a recorder on her, and then they would try to lie and say, oh yeah, she came, she had the session, she was, not cooperative, or, they tell a lot of lies. And these people work together. That's why that spider web is on that dollar bill. I used to study spider webs, and I only saw one wasp escape from a spider web, and I stood there clapping my hands like saying, kudos to you. So I started praying and asking God, like, God, how in the world do you get out of a spider web? It's the strongest material on earth. I think that's what I Googled. I have to Google that again. It's among the strongest materials on earth, so it's in the top 5 for sure. And I said, can you, show me how to escape a spider web? I want to, and sometimes you have to be careful what you ask for. In order for you to gain that kind of strength, you got to go through some things. And what I'm going through now with the severe gang stalkers, the gang stalkers are up to like 100 now, including the doppelgangers that are pretending to be me and going into banks and, getting money out and working behind the scenes in my phones, working behind the scenes, my daughter's phone, but it's in my name, working behind the scenes with my pay cards. Because, see, one of the things they do is break your ass down, make you homeless, fuck up your health, and just slowly break you down little by little. So when they evicted us June 2nd, 2022, from my childhood home, 6010 North 32nd Street, Tampa, Florida, Unity Circle, that was the big piece. Because when you don't have a home, you can't keep shit secure. And so they were breaking into my car, stealing my things. They came into the house. In the dream, I saw Letitia Karima Penn climb into the window and get my book back. She has that kind of courage. before that, I'm pretty sure I saw her go into our shed in the backyard. Her friend that delivers papers, a little old white lady in a little short car, was parked over at the neighbor's house, the Dixon's house. Well, I say Miss Dixon. She was a retired school teacher, Calba's mom, but the house is not owned by the Hamiltons. T.J. Hamilton, Melvin Hamilton's daddy, lives in that house. Well, Mr. T.J. is deceased now, but may he be resting in peace too. He was a great guy. He was a very friendly, cool neighbor. And his wife was kind enough to hold some things for me after I was evicted. I talked to her in Walmart, and I'm sure she was recording me and she was trying to lead the conversation. So I was, peeping game, and I just let her lead it, and I stood my ground. She's like, "Oh, you keep talking about your sister, your sister." I said, "My sister called me and told me you said you threw it away. She told you to put it on the streets, and you did. Well, this ain't got nothing to do with your sister." Didn't make any sense. If she called me and told me you got rid of it, why would I come to get it? You know what I'm saying? That's my sister Alva, the one that comes behind me and tries to destroy things, which makes me think she's a part of this secret society coven thing. Now, and she goes behind me and she lies and tells people I have AIDS, I'm crazy, I don't love my children, I don't take care of my children. And I could tell you her real business, but I'm not going to do that. It doesn't make any sense to do tit for tat. She's already suffering in the misery of her body. So back to what I just got. As I'm listening to her, she's talking about some druid secret society and how they break people down, how they, try to run people's mind in the ground, get them to cut themselves or kill themselves, how these people eat human flesh. And I'm just taken aback that I know anybody like this, right? So, and when I say she's talking about this, she is telling what's coming up in the reading, and it's resonating with my soul. She didn't say, "Hey, this happened to you." It wasn't a personal reading. It's what resonated with my soul. And they were saying that, people are going to want to know from you how you got away from these people, how you managed to make it out. And I was thinking, wow, this is so crazy. Thinking back to when they stole my children through the legal system, the 13th Judicial Circuit Court, they just put all kind of BS on paper and legally stole my twins. The only children I've ever prayed for. Boy, girl, twin. They changed my date of birth. They changed, I don't know what else they changed. But these people, they're all connected. So they have connections within doctors, lawyers, policemen, every aspect of life. It's a nation, society. So in a nation and a society, in order for you to be viable and keep moving, you have to have some of your people in every sector. Even if they are corrupt, even if they, get under scrutiny or whatever, they're still there. And they help their people unto death. I said, wow. When they wanted me to do a psychological evaluation to prove that I was competent and I should be able to continue to represent myself pro se. This was Judge Catherine G. Esrick, so she might be a part of this cult too. They wanted to send me to any old, fly by night, and I already knew that game. I was an activist already for a decade, so I knew the games. That's why I wanted to record, but none of them would allow me to record. When fat Dr. Alberts, I don't know if it's an S on the end, but I think it is Dr. Alberts over at Davis Island. I went there. He was going to see me. I was like 15 minutes late. He was going to keep the appointment. It could have been as much as 45 minutes late because, I was on the bus. And Heartline used to play games with me. They would skip and not even come to that stop to make me very, very late. I know this sounds crazy, but this is all real. By the time I got there, he was willing to see me. When I pulled out that tape recorder and I said, I hope you don't mind me recording, he was like, oh, no, I'm sorry, you're late. I'm going to have to cancel and reschedule you. So I want you young children, because I'm speaking to the children, I'm telling my story to help the children. You have to learn how to discern energy. And stop looking up to people because they got a title or they got a nice car or they got a big butt or they got breasts. Most of the stuff you see in society is fake. That's why people are so willing to cut their body open and put in bags of silicone. Does that not seem insane to you? Cut their butt open and put a bag of silicone. Does that not seem insane? It should seem insane. What it says to me is that's a person that's really hurting emotionally. That's some real deep emotional wounds, self-rejection. I don't like myself. And my spirit is not good. My spirit is not strong enough for me to stand in the love for myself. Your body is just a vehicle. It's like a car, a bicycle, a golf cart. It's just a vehicle that your soul is in. What's supposed to be the beautiful thing is your soul. So if you don't work to build your soul by building a relationship with the Creator and doing what you have been sent here to do, you're going to always be in conflict with this flesh, trying to make it be beautiful and appropriate and this and that so that you can fool people. Stop trying to fool people. Get real. Little children, you all are still close to God. You have an opportunity to hear this message and come out the blocks getting real. You don't have to go through the trauma of being traumatized by your parents, by the school systems, by religious factions, and then realize, wait a minute, the only way to get whole and feel good about myself is to get real. Take the shortcut. Do it the right way the first time. So Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, I called her. I said, I'm an activist and I'm an advocate for helping to rebuild the Black community, helping us to unload the generations of hurt that we have from the travesty of chattel slavery, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years of being psychologically effed over. And me walking into any old psychiatrist or psychologist's office, they're not going to understand me. Would you please be my counselor? She said, yes. I charge $150 an hour or $250 an hour. I can't remember. So I did a counseling session, my first counseling session over the phone with her for an hour. And we talked about them taking my children and how they were trying to manipulate me to be this way or that way. And they were using my children as leverage. And she was trying to basically get a gist of what I was going through and asking me what was my goal. Definitely my goal was to get my children, but my goal was also to protect my physical flesh. Those psychotropic drugs are no joke. And she said she could not do my psychological evaluation unless I came to Washington, D.C. for about a week where she could see me, look me in my face, and meet with me for several visits. And so I went and told my boyfriend at the time, Josie, and he's like, well, there's a lot of people here you could go to. Why you don't just go somewhere here and then, you can get what you need, which Metropolitan Ministries required me to have a psychological evaluation in order to get in their one-up program, Love Up program. They have a ministry where you can live in their apartments and then they give you a social worker and help you. And I was saying, I'm not against doing it, but I'm against going to just any average Joe. Because, you can tell him exactly what to put in the papers. They gonna put it just like they did. They railroaded me with Dr. Alberts taking handwritten letters and saying, oh, well, she has this diagnosis based on these letters. And whatever Dr. Lisa Gaze said, I'm still waiting on her to send me my medical records or something like that. So Dr. Francis Cress Welsing ended up deceased, and it was surrounding. The first thing that happened is they wanted to take her house, and this is hearsay, I never checked into it, by eminent domain. See, when you have a society that has a nation, they can hit you at different angles and it looks like it's unrelated. The only way you know it's related is because spiritually, when you go in asking questions of the Creator will say, yes, this is connected, this is connected, this is them. So she is deceased now. And Dr. Richard King is deceased. Dr. Africa is deceased. It's like everybody who I was depending on and to get support from, they're just falling off. And I learned about Dr. Francis Cress Welsing being deceased from Brother James Small. And he's like, how you so out of the loop? You didn't know. And he was just, when I spoke with him, he had just been in St. Pete speaking, and I missed his visit. And Dr. Ben Yakinen, I left he and his wife's apartment. Let me see, we're in Harlem. I see the apartments. I can't remember the name. And he died maybe a year later. And people feel like, oh, he was in his 80s. He was already, old. Many old people are still murdered because they know that you all think that way. You have no real expectation of how long you're going to live. So when you see somebody at 80, you're like, oh, wow, you lived a good life. You lived a long life. When you can live 120 years, just like the Bible suggests, that should be your expectation. Or how would your life differ if that were your expectation, if you expected to live to 120 years? I hope and pray that they have not killed Les Brown, my motivational mentor. Dr. Wayne Dyer is gone. I hope I said his name right. He wrote Your Erroneous Zone. And Herb Cohen, I hope they haven't knocked him off. I just gotta pray more for the people that I contact, because I realize now that it's not just here in Tampa, Florida, that they're messing with me. Whoever I contact, regardless of where they are, they're reaching out and trying to negatively affect those people's lives. Wow. However, Jesus Christ rose after 3 days, and he conquered death, and he conquered the grave. So good wins. I'm signing out at 11:08 a.m. Thursday, December the 5th, 2023, Tampa, Florida. Aileen Dorothea Atkins. It's one of the most brilliant people you ever see, meet, hear.